Thank you, PJ. It is time for another edition of the Pair and a Spare podcast. I'm Justin Gaard from The Fan. We've got Chip Scoggins from Knoxville, Tennessee today, and Ryan Burns from GopherIllustrated.com. We are presented, as always, by our great partners at Jack's Cafe. Make your reservations at jaxcafe.com. Holiday season is officially upon us. We're like 2 weeks away from Thanksgiving, or a week and a half away from Thanksgiving, or as my in-laws call it, Thanksgiving. So if you want to have, you've got people coming into town, you want to hang out with them the Wednesday night before, you want to hang out with them on Black Friday, you want to hang out with them the weekend, Jack's Cafe is a great place to do it. Great food, great drinks, great vibe, great ambiance. How's everybody doing? You made it back, Burnsy, from Oregon in one piece.
I really got to stop taking these 5:30 in the morning flights the day after night games.
I think you guys are insane for doing that.
No, you got to take those. First one out. Always first one out. That's the beat writer code.
But at what cost, Chip? Listen to Burnsy. He sounds like I did last week. At what cost? At what cost?
This is my Barry Manilow episode.
Yeah. I mean, at what cost?
You got to get back.
The most important thing in life is sleep and rest.
When I was a beat writer, we always said you got to play hurt. The season's hard, man. You got to get up early and get back.
NBA teams stay the night after the game. That's how important sleep is. So why do we think out-of-shape beat writers can just bang out a 5:30 after a night game?
How come you're looking directly in my eyes as you say that? I think I don't do it either. I'm not what I used to be. But
I don't do it. Now. If I had a choice, I have to fly home right after, which is no picnic either. I would never take the 6 a.m. out. Ever, ever, ever. I would get some rest, and I would get my work done on the plane that I needed to get done. I think you guys are crazy for doing the whole, I'm just going to stay up all night, basically, get 9 minutes of sleep, and then think I'm going to be great moving forward.
Well, my rule of thumb is
suffering because of it, certainly, but I'm with Chip. I want to get home.
Yeah, get home, and I always think give yourself the best chance to get home. The later you go, the more things can pile up. Flights can get behind, delays. Just take the first one out. You're not going to sleep anyways in a hotel, right? You're going to be tossing and turning, worried about everything else that's going on. Just get up and get going. Let's go.
Well, Chip, I didn't tell you about my Friday situation. I'm sure you're well aware of the FAA cancellations. I had a 44-minute layover in Salt Lake City on the day of the game, where if I missed that layover, there wasn't another flight into Eugene until like 11 p.m.
I'm surprised they gave you that short of a layover when you booked it.
I made it with plenty of time to spare because I luckily got in a little bit early, but I can't even imagine. Chip, let me ask you this. What is the longest layover that you would actually do that you think you have enough time? So the shortest /
the shortest, you mean? Okay, yeah. Shortest. I tend to like at least an hour. That's kind of my baseline. Anything less than an hour, I'm sweating bullets the whole flight and the whole. You get on the plane, you're like, push it back. Let's go. Sit down, people. Let's go. We got. I'm on the intercom. Let's go. Let's move it.
Chip's in the back.
Oh my!
I'd be like Guardsy grabbing my stuff and sprinting past all the people. It'd be that guy.
Yeah. Well, but that would be fine. That's what it's built for. That's what they always say. If we've got tight, if you're in Detroit or Atlanta or Salt Lake, another hub, we got tight connections. You got to go. I have no problem with that.
I still can't get over that Guardsy actually wore a flannel to the Pacific Northwest. And for those of you who got to meet the great Justin Gaard at the Soda Social, it sounds like you had a lot of fun with him.
It was fun. Yeah, the Soda Social was great. I texted you guys. It was a lot of fun. I get a lot of comments on my one flannel shirt. I get a lot of comments on it. And I got to give a shout out to Branded Bills, the hats that I wear on the sidelines and the hats, the people that make our hats for KFAN. Every year, I'm where I am right now, I probably have 40 Branded Bills hats. Like KFAN, Gopher stuff. I give them to people just kind of along the way because even though I wear a hat every day, I don't need them. But they also make clothing, and that was part of the package this year was that kind of maroon flannel, which is perfect for a Gopher Soda Social, especially in the North Woods of the Pacific Northwest.
That's awesome.
I mean, didn't it look like I just got off my shift as some kind of lumberjack in the hills of Salem? just wanted to have a beer before I went back up.
Rolled into port
to split more logs. Yeah, the flannel gets a lot of attention. I wore it to practice one day, and I'm not going to say which coach came over, but He didn't even say it to my face. I had to find out like third hand. Like, what are we making Grumpy Old Men 3 over here? Like I'm Walter Matthau. It's like, I'm sorry that it's first of all, it's like my jacket right now. I don't really have a jacket that I like to wear. And the one day I don't wear like a logoed polo like Chip is right now, like that's my whole wardrobe. Logoed polos, KFAN, Gophers, Timberwolves, Vikings, Final Fours, Super, whatever. I'm that guy. And so anytime I wear something that is logo-less, people notice. And you clearly did, Burnsy.
I just like to imagine you walking. I just wish you would have been wearing like a beanie on your head too. So you just got off and, you're just trying to have a nice little triple, quadruple IPA. And now this weekend, what did I get you to agree already to take on Friday night when you and I are out with the masses?
I don't even know what this is that you're talking about, Chip. It's some drink that he keeps bringing up that I have no idea what it is.
It's a Chicago delicacy, which here is my plea to the listeners. And I know there's copious amounts of you that'll be making this trip down for the Wrigley game. I want you all to try Malort, and I can guarantee they're going to have it at Chip's favorite former establishments in Chicago, which I've heard you got a bar. You're like, from what I've heard, Chip, you know how Mike Leach has some bar stools that are up in the rafters, and I've actually seen them in Key West. I've heard Chicago for you, specifically anywhere around the O'Hare Airport, because you love that airport so much. Okay, you and Kevin Seifert, I think.
Yeah.
Like, I want everybody to try Malort at the bar and then send us a report. That's all I'm asking.
Here's what it is, Chip.
I've never heard of that. I gotta be honest with you. I've lived in Chicago. I've never heard of that.
Same thing. I've been to Chicago a million times, and I feel like I've never heard of it. Here's what it is. It's an intensely bitter, wormwood-based liquor, originally a Swedish digestive, that is famously associated with Chicago, known for its unforgiving taste, which some compare to pencil shavings or old tires. It has become a local rite of passage and a popular drink in the city. Sounds great. Yeah, let's line them up.
Sign me up. Yeah, let's do 2 of those.
IPA shot. You two, look, you guys can do it. It's an IPA shot.
Give me some deep dish pizza and let me chase it with Malort.
So it's a shot, or is it something you sip? What is this? Is it a?
I would take it as a shot, as someone who's done enough of it in my life.
Oh my gosh, that sounds
I can't
horrible.
believe that you're down for this, Burns. He's a guy who drinks rum runners with umbrellas. That you're also excited about firing up a Malort shot. Yeah, look, pencil shavings are old tires.
Botanical bitter blend. The 3 Bs right there. It's like the Better Business Bureau. Okay. It'll be just fine. It'll go down real smooth. So we'll see if people look wherever Guardsy and I are Friday night. Well, we're gonna see what your reaction is. I'll do it with you. I'll hold your hand. We'll be just fine together.
Well, here's what I can promise you. With the 11 o'clock kick.
Yeah.
Tweet at me if you guys want to talk to me on Friday night. I won't be doing a whole lot. I won't be doing a whole lot with the 11 o'clock kick. But in all seriousness, I texted both of you guys from the Soda Social.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody that went to Eugene as a Gopher fan listens to Pair and a Spare and Gopher Gridiron Radio. It was the best. It is always the best. And actually, Grim was with me. I was there. I went over to a friend of mine and his family his kids were over there. So we went over there and met up. And Grim was going to do some work. And I said, well, if you're not doing any work, come over with me to the Soda Social. And he hasn't been to one in a while. He hasn't been to one like that in a while, I don't think, because he didn't go to the one in LA. I don't think, right, Burnsy? It was just you and me. And we know Chip wasn't there. We got a great tweet on why Chip wasn't able to go to Eugene, by the way. It was karma for not going to the Chip Lane Bowl a couple of years ago. Fortune favors those that brave Detroit on December 26th. But there was a lot of Gopher fans there. Like the section was full. There were Gopher fans sprinkled throughout the stadium. I swear all of them were at the Soda Social, and I swear all of them are Pair and a Spare listeners. And Grimmer, after a while, was like, well, now I know why you like to come to these, because everybody was coming. And they were talking to Grim about how great he was. And it was a good tire pump for Grim. I think he needed his tires pumped after a few things that have happened this season with the broadcast that I don't want to get into because I don't want to get in trouble. But I think it was a good tire pump for Grimmer. And everybody's concerned about Chipper's phone percentage, which is great. Make sure he's good. Everybody was sad that you weren't there. And at one point, I had 3 people in a row bring me an IPA.
What's it
like? Not 11 o'clock kick.
Justin Gaard.
Yeah, but which was not necessary. Not necessary, but it was so funny how it just happened out of nowhere. Where like one person came over and said, "Hey, I know you need an IPA," so I'm holding it. I'm like, "Great, thanks." Not necessary. I'm happy to buy my own drinks here at Claim 52. Very nice of you. Thank you. Thanks for listening. Yep, we love doing the show. And then somebody else brought one over, so now I got two, and I'm just sitting there in my flannel like this, like okay. And then out of nowhere, somebody else comes over and hands me a different IPA. So now I got to find a shelf. So now I'm in this bar and I got to find a shelf. And I don't think I drank all of them, but it was appreciated. But anyway, thanks everybody for listening. Please tell a friend. It is, it's fun to meet everybody, and it's fun that you guys are in on the inside jokes and that you're concerned about Burnsy's Rum Runners. I sent you guys the picture of the gentleman who reminded me of the Halloween baby.
That's so crazy to me, by the way. I'm not even there, and we're getting the Halloween baby references here.
Yeah, Abe, his son came over and he said, "Hey, you see that guy over there? That's the guy that reminded you about the Halloween baby bit. I come on over. We got to get a picture. Let's go. We got to get a picture." So it was great. It was awesome. And that's the fun part, right? The game was a complete debacle. We understand that. Right? It was a terrible game. The Gophers were, again, non-competitive, but I bet every Gopher fan that went out there had an absolute blast at Eugene, and that, to me, is college football. You're not promised the result. You're never promised the result. You hope for the result. I know Luke talks about that all the time, Burnsy, Luke Buer on Gopher Gridiron. You're not promised the result. It's sports. You have no idea what's going to happen. But the experience people had, the Creative Charters group that was staying in our hotel, Steve Urban's crew, they had a full plane. They had it, talking to them all day on Friday. It sounds like they had an awesome time. Like that, to me, is why it's fun. And just hearing people's stories about how long they've been traveling together and the games that they've went to or tailgating together and where they met up, how they met each other. It's so cool. And you guys were both missed. It's tough for me to take all the compliments for the group. All right. It's really hard for me to take all the compliments for the group. I'd like to spread it out a little bit amongst you guys, because I think you guys could use your tires pumped every once in a while.
Not all heroes wear capes. Chip says that about you often, Guard.
Some wear flannel.
Some do wear flannel. But even the Autzen, like Chip, I wish you could have been there, because I thought the in-game production of how, even between TV timeouts or whatever it was one of the best I've seen in 15 years.
Easily.
I mean, it helps when you're winning.
Yes.
But the way that they're able to keep the crowd engaged and going during every single one of these stoppages is incredible. And the energy in the stadium was awesome.
I was talking to Grimmer about this at the Vikings game yesterday. He was covering. He said that any pause during timeout, they just played one song. And it was just like fans knew every song they were singing.
Full song.
Well, I was awesome. Jealous. I'm not gonna lie. I'll tell you, I was envious, jealous, whatever the word was, when they came back from the timeout into the fourth quarter, and they just did they showed the stands and they were singing, and that place just looked electric. And the thing I thought was really cool was, and I texted you guys, I was like, "Is this as cool as it looks like on TV?" Because I'm jealous I'm not there, but like blowout game. Let's be honest, not exactly a marquee opponent in their world. But those fans were still there like it was a big deal, right? They didn't leave. It was loud. Yeah, I said it last week. I was jealous I didn't get to go, and then seeing it on TV and seeing just that atmosphere, I really wish I could have got to experience it.
It was amazing. Given Mrs. Scoggins the credit card information. You could have came out with us. That's all I'm going to say one last time.
Yeah, you got to just get it. You just got to do it for your own. You just got to do it. Next
sanity.
Time. Yeah. Because I said this to you yesterday, Burnsy, on Gopher Football Sunday. It might have been during Shout. I actually think it was during the first quarter break. What was the song? It wasn't Country Road, Take Me Home. It was some, or was it?
They did play that.
Yeah, so it might have been after that, which, what a song. I got to fire that up, and just listen to it all day. And everybody's singing it.
To a West Virginia game at some point.
Yeah, everybody's singing it. The lights are going off. It's like not warm, but not cold in Eugene. Like there's no rain. It just like feels like it's just a nice night. And I'm standing there. I'm like, if I ever hear like Pete Thamel or Bruce Feldman say that Dan Lanning is a candidate for another job, I think they should be fired. Dan Lanning is never leaving Oregon ever. if Dan Lanning leaves Oregon, he's an idiot. And I don't think he's an idiot because I'm looking at the new football building that they're building, not to be confused with the old one that's not old. Now, their stadium is nothing to write home about, right? It's 54,000 people, but I kind of like that because it creates a demand. They could probably sell double that. I don't know. And he's got everything he needs. He's got every player that he could possibly want. He's got every facility. It looked like the people that live in Oregon like living there. It seems like a very nice place to live. I'm just like, if he ever leaves Oregon, he's an idiot. So I just don't think that he is ever. That was my big takeaway.
Yeah, for the amount of money that they get to spend on their roster, thanks Phil Knight, for the amount of facilities that they have, I can see why Dan Lanning never wants to leave, never should he leave, and because he's now got a roster that you can absolutely go into a college football playoff and not only win a game, but actually compete, in my mind, for a national title. I mean, that team on Friday night, they played at a very, very high level, as so many of the Gophers' opponents on the road have all season long.
Yep. I mean,
they're start.
Yeah, no. I mean, I can start.
I have a kid with strep throat over here.
Oh,
telling me her every move.
That time of year, right?
Yeah, it's like our 9th bout with strep throat. It's really hashtag blessed over here. Country road, just take me home.
To the place. Like watching that on TV. I wrote a column for Friday saying no one's expecting him to win this game, but can you at least make a fight of it? Can you at least not get blown off the field? The bar's not that high. Just show up. They were so overmatched in the trenches. It was not even funny. Like, you knew 3 minutes into that game, like this was going to be a long night. I'm trying to figure out how to frame this season, but it's when you're that non-competitive and that far away from the top, I don't know. I think there's a good chance they finish 8-4, which I picked. Although I'm not convinced they're going to win both of these last 2 games, but it certainly has not gone the way I thought it would to get to 8-4. I mean, they are one of the worst offenses in college football. They just are. You look at the numbers, it says it. Defensively, the tackling is atrocious. It has been all year, and they just have not been good in the trenches. I don't know how you guys frame it. I mean, some people say, the Big Ten teams they've beaten, they're 6-23. Those teams combined in the Big Ten. It's hard for me to get worked up and say this is a great season. I'm sorry. It's just, this feels like a very, very, very average team.
Burnsy,
there's a lot to unpack.
You're looking toward the sky. You're looking toward the Oregon sky. What are we thinking about here?
Like, I'm spending money to go to these games like anybody else, and watching them absolutely get slobber knocked, I think, which is a good way to describe it, is disheartening. And trust me when I say, again, we're asking the questions in the tent afterwards, where it's why are you so far away? And I know that the staff over there would point to, well, what do you want us to do? We don't have the money. And I would tell you probably the money difference from what Oregon has to Minnesota has is, in terms of what they spend on their players, 10 to 15 million more, probably somewhere in that range. Thank you, Phil Knight. And I forget who the other big sponsor is of the field. I forget, it's not Phil Knight, but it's somebody else. Like, that's where the staff would tell you it starts. I would tell you it also starts where, why are you the way that you are in the trenches? Because you have empty high school recruiting classes. This is not an institution that can go into the portal and get the players that they need to get, like Oregon can, who I think one of their tackles, was the number 1 player in the portal. Like, you saw that they took 4 portal linemen, the 2 guys at right tackle and right guard, who haven't played really well at any point this season. And then they got 2 others on the bench. So you have some dead money on the bench. You have the 2 starters on the right side of the line that aren't playing well. But why did you have to take so many? It's because you didn't recruit well from the high school ranks in 2021, 2022, 2023. And for a place like Minnesota, this whole thing has to be built from the high school ranks. And because the guys are no longer here, they're just not good, whatever the reason is. I mean, that's how you watch on I'll be the first to tell you. I agree with Chip. The offense stinks. But why do they stink? It's because they stink up front. I had Derek Burns on the podcast yesterday, former Golden Gopher offensive lineman. He watches this team closer than anybody, knows offensive line play. He called this the least physical offensive line in the Fleck era. Like, what do you want to do when on the first play, they try to drag a tight end across the line of scrimmage? He gets knocked back by the center because the center gets shoved 3 yards into the backfield. Then he gets run into by the left tackle who gets shoved 4 yards back into the backfield. Or you're calling 7-man protections to try and keep this Oregon defensive line at bay who's rushing 4, and they're getting home. There's only so many things you can do as an offensive coordinator, and I feel like I've talked about this every week. There's a lot of blame to go around in the offense or even the defense, who allowed Dante Moore to set a single game Oregon completion record without his top 2 receivers, may I add, and never forced a single punt while Dante Moore was in the game. Like, there's blame to go around everywhere, but offensively, if you're just not good up front, there isn't a single play you can call. I mean, I'm watching Coy Parrish, Chip's guy, run orbit motion, like read option with Drake Lindsay to try and get 4 yards. Like, that's where this thing is at, is they can't run the football. And that's been the story all year. It's been the story, unfortunately, for Harbaugh in his 3 years here calling the offense. It's not just one thing, but if you're not good up front, and I think some guys on the offensive line had bad days against what is probably the most talented defensive line they will play all season. And I mean, no disrespect to the freaks at Iowa, the freaks at Ohio State, but that's where I was, Chip, right in front of us in the press box was like an entire row of NFL scouts. And so I went down there and I talked to an AFC scout, and I was like, how good is this defense? Because they are the number 2 defense in all of college football. And they pulled up like their little sheet of like draftable grades. I think like 10 of the 11 players for Oregon had draftable grades, including like top 4 round selections for every starting defensive lineman.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they were good. I mean, they played really well, but why does that keep happening against the Gophers on the road is my question.
Yeah. Well, you knew it too from that first series where Harbaugh's trying some things you had never seen, goofy formations. I mean, that to me was like, okay, we're overmatched. Let's just try, let's get weird here. Yeah. Drake Lindsay is not given the best opportunities to succeed here because it's, the lines fell on him, and then you can't run the ball, and then he's under pressure. And I think you're seeing.
Did you even see after one of the sacks? Fox showed it. I mean, he gets sacked on, again, one of his tackles just gets beat, and they show it in slow-mo afterwards. He's just ripping the offensive line.
Yeah.
After something like that, which I'm sure I think you're starting to see in his play. He's starting to get antsy.
Yeah, well, for sure. He's starting to feel it. He's the pressure and the not having time is starting to get to him. I think he's getting sped up. He's getting a little skittish. I mean, that just happens. We see it. But you're right. When you talked about, because I've been thinking about this, we heard from day one of PJ's tenure that cultural sustainability, that's what you have to have. Cultural sustainability. That's the key to everything. I mean, he's the second longest tenured coach in the Big Ten right now. So, and it was sold as like, there's this big payoff coming. If you have cultural sustainability, there's this big payoff coming. What's the big payoff? Like, what's this going to be? I mean, where's it going to show up? And you talk about the money, and that's always the comeback. Every time you hear every time they get blown out, well, it's Minnesota, they're broke, they have no money, they can't compete. And there's obviously when they're going against Ohio State, some of these blue bloods, they are at a deficit there. But they do have money, and if you spend it on the wrong talent, then that compounds the problem. And I think they've done that. And so they have to take a real hard look. And I don't know if it's PJ, Garrett, whoever runs their – because this is part of the deal now. Like, they're GMs. This is professional football. How do we allocate this money? Mm-hmm. Well, are you going to give a ton of money to Darius Taylor, who's a great player when he's healthy, but he misses a lot of games? Are you going to take that money and say we're going to put it all in the trenches and we're going to go out and get a kick-ass left tackle in the portal? These are the conversations that are so important now in today's college football that they never had to deal with. That Minnesota, they cannot spend money on portal additions and those players not pan out. I mean, they just can't. It's at Oregon, you can make up mistakes. Ohio State, you can make up mistakes. You can go spend more money. Like Minnesota can't do that. And I think that's, we say they don't have money. They do have money, but they just can't spend the money they have and make mistakes.
They can't have as much dead money as they have. Like they'd be lost without guys like, say, John Nestor or Javon Tracy, who made a nice behind him catch there for the touchdown. But the amount of dead money that they have sitting there, and it's, again, they have $14 million like the rest of every Big Ten team. That is not an advantage for them.
Burns, let me stop you there.
So much of it isn't playing from the portal specifically. That cannot happen again in January if you want this team to be better for Drake Lindsay and whoever else is on this offense.
Total between portal and NIL, what do you think they're at? 17 million, 16 million? What? If you're guessing.
I'm not going to get into that. That's not going to do me any good.
Right.
So, like,
but you said you think
why? Because
Oregon's,
you know and you can't tell us.
Well, I mean, you said Oregon's 15 million more.
I think that's probably a good spot to be. Chip, I think you're probably accurate, but like that's where, okay, you know, I'd say Nebraska's probably
25 million
at least, like, or Michigan State's got more. Like I don't want this to get into just like a money discussion because Minnesota is where they are. Like, I looked into this yesterday. Like, I think they're 16th in spending, 14th in revenue. Like, they struggle to get donations. They struggle. And this is something that goes back to before Coyle. I mean, this is the Maturi area. Like, they've struggled to get a whale or a couple of whales. And whether that's because of the lack of winning over the years, but like they need, for the money that they do have, I think it comes back to the crux of your discussion, Chip. They have to hit at a higher rate than they did out of the portal. They also have to hit at a higher rate than they do out of high school. And like, I like this high school class they got coming in, but I'm not going to expect Andrew Trout to come in here and play left tackle in the Big Ten as a true freshman and expect it to go well. Like, it won't. So my thing is, how do you fix the offensive line for 2026?
Right.
If just you are what you like, you have the allotment that you have to spend for portal guys, and you've seen kind of the caliber of guy that Minnesota can afford in the portal. And I'll tell you, good portal O-lineman, the price is always only going to go up.
Well, and this is why I get always frustrated with the money talk, because I think it's too easy and too convenient to say Minnesota has no money. How are they ever going to compete? We can confidently say Michigan State has a lot more money than them, right? Mm-hmm. Michigan State's one of the two worst teams in the Big Ten. They don't have a Big Ten win. They're 0-7. Nebraska, you just said, has a lot more money than them. They wiped them off the field. It was a mismatch, right? Penn State, we're reasonably sure they got a lot more money than Minnesota. They're 1-6 in the Big Ten. So we can't just say anytime they lose a game, well, shit, sorry.
Oh, great. Now I got to.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Thanks a lot. Unbelievable.
You got me fired up.
Like, I'm pressing the right buttons today. I know.
Yeah, that's why it drives me crazy. Like, that's the fallback excuse for everything. There's no money. Well, that takes everybody. That's too convenient. It's a crutch. It is a thing that they have to deal with, but it's not a one size fits all. Money's going to cure everything, because we see teams that have a lot more money that are terrible this year.
I just think so many things in college football both things can be true. Minnesota wishes they had more money, and they could probably get better.
But I would also say they're winning without all the money. Like, you asked what the payoff is. I mean, I think, to me, the payoffs are, they haven't been bad in 9 years, right? Like COVID, they weren't very good. I mean, they had a 5-7, but they haven't had these years that we're talking about, Michigan State, Purdue. Yeah. Like, they have. So
they've been 6 or 8 wins.
Right. So they're stable. They're consistent.
Yeah.
They're kind of what Mace was, right? And people got sick of that, right? The other payoff is, I think, to Burnsy's point, and not to interrupt you, Burnsy, but I've been running around with a strep throat child. Oh, who's here again? This is good. And then my computer was going to die. Hold on. We just got to open the water bottle here. I just found out she doesn't have strep, so now I got to get her to school after this. So this is what I'm dealing with.
Whole bad experience today.
Yeah, it's just, it's great. The other payoff is you just take the in-state recruiting the last 5 years. They've got the best player every time, right?
Yeah.
Like so that's I think part of it. Like they didn't go to the Rose Bowl, they didn't win the West. I get it. There hasn't been the big payoff, but I think it's been a net positive to have him here for 9 years and see where it's going. Now, what was I going to talk about before I had to open the water bottle?
The money.
Like it puts so much pressure on you to be right, and when you're wrong, then you're toast in certain spots, and that's what we're seeing in the offensive line, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they have to figure out a way to recalibrate that and not be wrong as often, because that is just part of their deal. It just is part of their deal that they can't really afford the mistakes or overpaying, certainly not paying guys that aren't going to play. And so they got to get more aggressive in that way, or they just got to go find more money. They got to say, you know what, because Coyle always said after the Ohio State game, Coyle said he left that more optimistic than anything, because he thinks the gap will be somewhat closed with the money that they can pay. And I followed up with him the next week, and I said, I got to be honest, I didn't leave with that feeling. I left, and same with Oregon, I left with thinking, yes, it has made the middle better. I know, Burns, you've talked about that a lot with Derek. It's made the middle and the bottom better, right? Even the bad teams have good players, like probably more than they have. It's made it harder to just dial up a win against certain teams. But I also think it's allowed the haves to continue to be the haves and separate the way that they always have. Like there's been some disruption. There have been different teams that have popped up there, but because the reason they've popped up there is because they decided, like Indiana, to start investing at a super high level, right? Something that they had never done before. So I see all sides of it. You got to be smarter. You got to be smarter with the money that you have, and you got to maybe in some cases be luckier with the money that you have. I don't know.
Burns, you get a sense that when you look at roster construction that they will fundamentally. I mean, do you go all in on skill guys? Do you go all in? Because I still think I think they got the quarterback. I agree. I think you go all in trenches, and because tale as old as time. I mean, that's where football's won, and we see it when they get overmatched. They get wiped off the field. I mean, it's just it's where it starts.
I mean, that's what I would do. Now, it's again easier, I think, in theory than in practice. And we've spent a lot of time on this, but like Marcus Hendrickson and Garrett Chernoff and those guys in the Gopher football department there, I mean, their evals have to be better. Like, and they have to figure out how they want to structure this thing for whatever their monetary budget is. To have two skill guys and Darius Taylor and even say Coy Parrish in the top 5. I mean, there's some very interesting decisions that they have to make before the portal opens in January. And they don't have to make those decisions today, but those discussions have to be had today of how do you, like, what is the specific allotment that you have for each position going forward? And how do you what do you tweak or change in your evaluations on, say, the offensive line, the defensive line, places like that to get better? Because they are 16th in spending, like I said, just as an athletic department. But the two teams below them in spending, Maryland and Purdue, are just dreadful programs. Like, they have overachieved for what they have spending-wise. Or even I told you guys about this in the pre-production meeting. Like the Knight Commission, I think, does a great job. And I went online to one of their websites to see what Minnesota spends on football. And they have it over the last 5 years of data. So I think that's a good, recent, accurate sample size. The Gophers have spent 37% more on football over the last 5 years. That's great. But guess what? The median Big Ten team, so right in the middle, is spending 61% more. So you're not even spending more. Like, we're seeing decisions like Luke Fickell being retained and Mike Loxley being retained, and their athletic directors coming out and saying, we're going to pour more money into them, give them more resources. And I kind of agree with that, especially in this coaching carousel cycle. So when are we going to see Mark Coyle say, for what we are, paying them, like to Chip's point, 8-4 doesn't feel great knowing what you got just destroyed in 4 games. Do you know how many teams are killed to be 8-4? Like, this is, both things can be true with whether it ends up being 6-6, 7-5, 8-4. if they get to 8-4, it's a great coaching job by the staff, but they're also the ones that put themselves in this position because of missed talent evaluations that they then just got destroyed on the road.
Where is the I don't know if they've broken it down, this specifically, but where are they getting outspent? Is it recruiting? Is it salary, coaching salaries? Is it support staff? Is it what?
Well, players,
a lot of
one.
different things.
So that takes wait, that doesn't take in what you're spending on players, right? That's just administratively, right?
That is just things you can put in a line item that is presented to XYZ's Board of Regents or university president, whatever that may be. That does not include NIL, which is still the giant gray area, and that's where you just have to kind of listen to us to tell you this is what XYZ school has. So that's the frustrating part. But it's just, I want to see, especially with, we'll see if the private equity goes through, but just if you want them to take the next step, they have to be better in their evals, but they also need more help. I also feel like we're 35 minutes in and haven't talked about a defense. But like I said, I know that Chip was a big Joey Harrington guy. Guardsy, you were big into Kellen Clemens. I'll take Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
But for the amount of NFL quarterbacks that Oregon has produced, for Dante Moore to set the single game completion record for Oregon and not in Minnesota, not force a punt. Like, we've spent so much time on the offense. If Oregon's going to score 42 points and not punt the football, none of it matters.
I tell you, from watching on TV, he made it look pretty easy too. I mean, it was not a lot of, it didn't look like he was under stress. It was just pitch and catch. I mean, his accuracy, the way he, there is a lot of space in that Gopher defense where he found guys. I mean, it just, their back end was nowhere near good enough. And then the tackling, which has been a season-long theme. I mean, the one where it looked like 7 guys had him surrounded and their hands on him, and he scores there. I mean, that just can't happen.
It's just like every road game, they just don't play complementary football, which for a team like Minnesota, you have to. Yeah, the offense struggles, but the defense, they did get me a takeaway, which was an offensive coordinator for Oregon calling a tunnel screen into a pitch back to the running back on 3rd and 15. I can only imagine what the Chip Scoggins tweet would have been from the Eugene press box watching that live.
That was a coordinator that did not respect his opponent. No. That's what that was.
You're right. That he said, even if it doesn't work, we'll make it up. Right? Yep. There's no pressure. We can try some stuff. There's 54,000 people here on a Friday night in Eugene. Let's give them a show besides the great music. That's what that was.
Yep. They give up 9 yards of play. They've had 1 takeaway in their last 4 games. Like, what do they do well defensively? They get sacks from time to time, and that's great, but they just don't like this. And then special teams, you just never get anything in the return game. And I feel for your boy Coy Parrish, Chip, because if I've got to watch him try to return 1 more kick or punt to see like 4 unblocked guys running at him, I just feel for him, because this isn't Moose Lake type of guys coming at him or Luke Denfeld.
Like, you've never respected Denfeld. I don't know why you have such a disdain for Denfeld.
What, you want me to get into Hermantown here?
It's a great program. A lot of good players up there. Duluth East. I don't know what your disdain is for the North Shore area. Chip and I love it.
That's right.
I'm the only one who poured out some of my beer the other, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, for the 29 men who. Edmund Fitzgerald Day. Happy 50th anniversary to you two too. All right. But it's just this team on the road, they just don't play complimentary football. And now you get a Northwestern. Well, here's the question I'll pose to you guys.
Hold on. Let's pause, because we got to get into Northwestern. I know the question you want to ask. We've got a few more things to talk about, and we've only got like 15 minutes. So let's pause real quickly, and then Burnsy's got a Burnsing question.
Hey-o.
New segment. Sponsored by Icy Hot. Burnsing question. He's got a question to ask us. But Jack's Cafe is our outstanding partner. And when we were at the social, well, me, because you guys weren't there, I've got a lot of people coming up and saying that they've been to Jack's. They like going to Jack's. They hadn't been to Jack's in a while. They never heard of Jack's before the podcast. And they love going there. They love Bill. They love the staff. They love the food. They love the drinks. And I said, yeah, it's wonderful. Like, the best part about Jack's Cafe is, I've always said, well, one of them is that We don't have to sell you anything. We don't have to think, how are we going to sell Jack's Cafe to the masses today? We just have to talk about it. We just have to tell you what our experience is. And we don't get any special experience because we're the Pair and a Spare podcast. We get the same matchbooks you do. We get the same steaks you do. We get the same drinks you do. We get the same brunch you do. It's good for everybody. I've never had someone come up to me and go, hey, I don't understand the hype about Jack's. We went there. It was just, kind of mid, as Burnsy would say. That's the beautiful part, right? What we tell you is the gospel. What we tell you is just the straight up truth. And whether it's happy hour, lunch, brunch, dinner, date night, holiday parties, weddings that we just had, right? Last weekend, it's just the best. And we're grateful that so many of you have taken our word for it and gone over to Jack's Cafe.
I'll be there Wednesday night, boys. I'm going to be bringing my best man and his wife over there to celebrate their birthdays. And I thought to myself, what can I do to be a steward? Serving and giving. It's a mantra of this podcast. And I thought,
family,
where we should
forget
go?
about me. I love you.
That's what family does. We often talk about it on this podcast. So we're going to be heading over to Jack's on Wednesday night. I'm going to get creme brulee for Chip. I'm going to send it to him. And I know that if I show up for a 6 o'clock reservation at 5:59, there's going to be free, adequate, close to right next to the restaurant parking for Chip.
Oh, and here's the best part about that. All 4 of you are driving separately just because there's going to be a spot.
Right.
That'd be crazy.
There's going to be room for you're each going to drive individual vehicles. So just to flex on the parking.
Burnsy, we going steak or fish?
Steak.
You can't go wrong.
The walleye, but
the walleye is
I think I'm in the
outstanding.
mood for some red meat.
Yeah,
knowing that I haven't got my venison on the ground yet, I'm going to take it out on a nice fillet.
And you know what this is? This is the season for holiday parties and just kind of holiday getting out. You're shopping. Hey, where should we go have dinner tonight? Special dinner. That's the spot, right? You're downtown. You're shopping. You're out. Or you have a holiday party. Hey, let's go to Jack's, and it's going to be memorable. It's going to be awesome. You're going to have a great time. So, book it. Book your holiday party there.
Breakfast with Santa's coming up too, and I can confirm Breakfast with Santa is awesome. They do it upstairs in the room we were at. If anybody was at the Dinkytown Athletes thing we did back in the summer, my son got his face paint as Santa, like full on Santa, and it's not like a face paint. It's like all white with the beard, and then like red. We had a Grinch running around in there, and then he had to go to hockey, and he still has red paint in his hockey helmet from that day. So he was a maniac after that, but it's the best. And we appreciate everybody again that came up in Eugene and talked about Jack's as well. I know Bill loves that too. All right, Burnsy, the Burnsian question of the week. I got to figure out a better sponsor than Icy Hot. There's got to be some type of STD or something in there, medication that we can, get a sponsorship for. But anyway, go ahead. Your Burnsian question of the week for the podcast.
What a lead in.
We're definitely doing this, by the way. I'm ready to put a Post-it on my desk. The Burnsian question of the week, and I need one. And if anybody wants to sponsor it, just email me, jg@kfan.com.
So, Chip, would you rather cover a game, both either as a member of the media or as a fan for your Tennessee Volunteers, and lose the way that the Gophers did, where you knew within the first 15 minutes that it was going to be going one specific way, or lose the way that Northwestern did at Wrigley Field on Saturday, where they were +5 in the take-give, found a way to lose, where Michigan also missed 2 field goals before that. Which one would you rather have happen to you? One, you're engaged the entire time with heartbreak in the end. The other one, you just get to mentally check out.
Here, while Chip thinks, here's my answer. My answer is I'd like to be at whatever game is in Eugene. I don't care what either way.
That's right.
Whatever game is in Eugene, I'd like to be there. That's
a great question, because I would want to be engaged. There's nothing like when a game's over, a quarter into it, you're like, okay, this is not fun. But having your heart ripped out and the frustration of having 5 turnovers and not winning, you'd probably leave there a lot angrier and dejected. I don't know. That's a great question. I probably would still want to be engaged throughout the whole game, because at least you're having some drama and excitement. Probably that.
I can't even imagine, because I watched some of it on the plane, and then I was able to see some of the David Braun press conference afterwards. He's just despondent, angry, because now Northwestern, I think, is 0-6 in Wrigley Field after losing that game.
What do you think? I mean, I'm sure somebody keeps track of this, but how often does a team in football have a 5-0 advantage in turnovers and lose? That's almost
got to be
impossible.
It's got to be like a 95% win probability.
Oh, I bet it's higher than that.
+5 in the take give, which, like I said, Minnesota's got 1 takeaway in their last 4 games. Northwestern had 5 against Michigan, where Bryce Underwood, brother, he doesn't know what he is looking at.
Yeah, he's still a freshman.
Another freshman quarterback here in the Big Ten. But I'll also tell you, for those of you traveling down to Wrigley, you could see towards the end of that game, that field's already starting to get ripped up. And now I look at the forecast for this week. There's going to be some rain that's going to be hitting that field. We've also seen whether it was the Pinstripe Bowl or who could forget when they opened the stadium up for the Guaranteed Rate Bowl and a driving rain 5 minutes before. Like, this is going to be the worst playing conditions that they will play in unless they get put in the Pinstripe or the Guaranteed Rate Bowl, which is probably one of their likeliest bowls destinations right now.
Yep.
But they're going to be playing in some horrific field conditions on Saturday. I'm going to tell you that right now.
What do we need to know about Northwestern?
They're the same Northwestern team that you've watched for 55 years, where you're going to go from Oregon, you got out Jimmy'd and Joed, to Northwestern. They're banged up in certain spots. For Gaardsy, I know Chip wanted to know this. As I said on the Gopher Football Sunday, your narrative street angle here is former Golden Gopher right tackle Martez Lewis is starting for them at right tackle.
Print the shirts.
Print the shirts.
That'll fire
I
them up.
I hope you find another nugget for Gopher.
Yeah, there's got to be more than that. Yeah.
Hope you find a little more meat on that bone. That's like the Malort of nuggets.
Yeah.
That was the Malort of nuggets. Hopefully you find something else.
No, they want to run the football. They don't have the greatest athletes in the world, but they're sound, they're physical. It's every Northwestern team you've seen for the last 25 years. So that's where, for these next 2 weeks, you have to get to travel to, technically, I'll call it a neutral site game. So hopefully that means Minnesota shows up a little bit more. But for the next 2 weeks, it's going to be RPO offenses, because that's what Wisconsin is with their new freshman quarterback, Carter Smith. It's first 1 to 20 wins these next 2 weeks. I mean, that's going to be it. I think Northwestern is a 5.5-point favorite.
Yes, I
do sit here Monday morning, which I think is a little surprising. But I also know that Minnesota sucks on the road. So,
yeah. We've thought every road spread is surprising, and I think they've not covered on all 3.
Correct. So what do I know? But
including Cal, yeah.
That's also the story with this
stop
team.
being surprised.
That's the story with this team, is what team shows up.
Right.
I don't know, but I get why the spread is what it is. This is a game where you have to play physical, but they're not going to have better. You're not going to get better athleted. I mean, you're going to have the better athletes between the two schools. The question is, can you get your athletes to be looking like athletes and not having them play slow like they did on Friday night?
Yeah, these two are, I mean, you got to win these next 2. Like, you just have to win these next 2, get to 8-4, and then people can decide what kind of 8-4 it is, right? Like, you got to win a road game. Wisconsin, I know Indiana blew their doors off, but they had a victory the other day. I know we've talked about them ad nauseum. Like, just got to find a way to get these 2 victories and be 8-4 in a year where you probably weren't a great team, right? I mean, we know this.
Yeah.
Like, not all 8-4s are built different. To me, it'd be fascinating if Iowa also finishes 8-4, which is very possible, right? They're 6-4 right now, and that's, to me, the funny part of their season. Is like, and we're taping this a day earlier, so I don't think we're going to hear from the 4th member of the pod. I didn't give him a heads up last night, so I'm sure he has some thoughts on how they kind of let one slip at USC, right? They have the lead at halftime and end up losing. Like, Iowa's best win is probably Penn State without their quarterback and coach, right? At home.
It's that or Minnesota.
Yeah.
Iowa's 0-4 against ranked teams, right?
Yeah.
And they've had some heartbreakers, but it's kind of like what we talked about last week. I think we talked about it on the podcast. It's like, they finally have their quarterback. They finally, have a really good offense. Their defense is what it usually is. Their special teams hasn't been as good. We talked about that, but like, it's just not all 8-4. Like, I'm just curious how they're going to feel about their 8-4, because it seems like a big what if, with the quarterback that they had.
Yeah.
Kind of like last year with the Gophers, like, they're 7-5, probably should have been more, right? And it's going to be interesting to see how that whole season plays out, because that was a tough loss for, like, if they win that game, they go 9-3. Like, I think you feel really good about that. Yeah. Really, really good about that.
And they were up. I saw Ferentz's interview at halftime. Were they up 10 or 7
at half?
14. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, right. Man, I know is the condition. I didn't get to see the second half, but yeah.
And why does the rain? I've been to LA 50 times. It's never once rained in LA ever. And Iowa comes to town. It's like, yeah, let's muddy this up for the team from the Midwest. Like, it's crazy, but they just didn't play very well in the second half.
No. Yeah. I mean, you give them a 14-point halftime lead, you think they're going to get that one to the finish line, right? They normally do, but yeah. So but to the Gophers, you're right. I want to see if they can play well on the road. I mean, we can debate whether Northwestern or Cal's the better team. It's not like you're going to, Kinnick. It's not like you're going to Ohio State or Oregon.
Or you're not going 5 hours across the country.
Or time zones. Yeah. You're going an hour away. Go there and play well, right? Go there and play well. They fundamentally tackle well. You have, as Burns, you said, you probably have better athletes. Go win a game on the road.
Well, that's where I've even heard for this game. It's an 11 a.m. game, I think on BTN.
Yep.
I've heard that Minnesota may have vetoed a night game that was proposed to them, which can you blame them for how they played on the road?
Did you hack into their email to do that?
Talked with some people over there where it sounds like that might have been the case. And now you also get to see who got the night game. It's Brett Bielema's return to Camp Randall for that game. So when we all get done at Wrigley Field and we're at XYZ Bar in Wrigleyville, you get to turn on Brett Bielema's return against the Wisconsin Badgers for that one. So let's see if they can show up. I mean, I like that it's an 11 a.m. game. Maybe that's the hopeful optimist in me. That as the spare member of the Parent is Spare, that's what I try to provide, is the optimism, the positivity here. Maybe it's because it'll be their first 11 a.m. road game, but they got to show up, man. You're not going to get out Jimmy'd and Joe'd. It's going to be about X's and O's. So let's see if they can actually put it together for 60 minutes, complimentary football in Wrigley Field.
All right, you can't make this up, but the fourth member of the podcast just texted me.
Unbelievable.
On cue. He's thinking about us.
Well, and it's early technically, but it's late in the pod. He didn't know this. This is what he said. I procrastinated on this one for a while. Such a bummer. Fourth down with the fourth member is what he calls it. So now he's writing segments.
That's great.
We've got
writing his own segments.
We've got the Burnsian question of the week, and now we've got fourth down with the fourth member, and we do have like 2 minutes. So this is like the 2-minute drill. Yeah. New week, same result. Iowa's a good team, not a great team. They beat the teams they should. Can't break through against truly good teams. 0 for 12 in the last 12 games against ranked teams. Yikes. Ooh. Maybe the luck ledger is evening out. None of the bounces seem to be going Iowa's way this year. Yeah, well, about time. That's what I'll say. My God, for the last 10 years, the USC interception deflected off a defender's hands into the arms of a linebacker. That stuff usually goes the Hawkeyes' way. Yep. Can't think of one instance where Iowa has gotten a timely turnover. 4 losses by a total of 15 points. I've heard some complaints about the officiating in Saturday's game. We didn't even talk about that on this pod. We don't need to. From Friday's game, there was some funny stuff there. Were there some missed calls? Yes. Was it so egregious as to cause a loss? Nope. I do think the play calling got a bit conservative in the second half. They came out of the gate throwing the ball more than expected, definitely going against their tendency. Wonder if there was a decision to try to grind the clock and escape with a win once they got up by 2 scores. It wouldn't be the first time that Ferentz used that strategy, but I think it's the wrong idea against an offense like USC once they get rolling. There's no one thing you can point to this season and say that's why they're 6-4. They had the pieces for a possible great season, a fantastic offensive line, their usual stingy defense, a proven winner at QB. But at some point, you are what your record says you are. I certainly expect them to win out and finish the regular season 8-4. But 2025 will probably go down as a season of near misses and what ifs. Kind of what we just talked about.
Yeah, and that's why there's Phil. If you have 4 losses by 15 points versus the Gophers 4 losses by
100 something points.
100 something, yeah.
By an average of 25.
It just feels different, right? You feel different about your team. Like you feel one's closer, one, yeah.
That was fourth down with the fourth member, brought to you by Allstate. Thank you. Thank you. Anything else we want to talk about before Burnsy? You've got to go to the PJ Fleck press conference where he'll give you no update on injuries, which will bother you, and You'll talk about turnovers, and that's on Wednesday when you talk about
offensive line. You'll talk about offensive line.
Oh yeah. What are the bullets in your chamber here for the head coach?
Yeah, we only got a couple weeks left, especially with the carousel about to start. It's also crazy to me. National Signing Day is like 16 days away, which I can't imagine for the amount of jobs that are open or that will be open because head coaches leave in 14 to 17 days. Boy, we're going to have a lot of fun that first podcast after the Wisconsin game. Hopefully, number one, talking about an Axe victory, but two, also talking about where does James Franklin go, because we got that news over the weekend that Virginia Tech is hopefully closing in on James Franklin. But that was supposed to potentially be done by the time we were recording this. Now we'll see by the time people are listening to this if that happens. Go ahead, Chip.
I was just reading Pat Forty's column, waiting to come on here, and he said that he thinks James Franklin might be slow playing it for someone else.
I think that was very intentional that got out, that James Franklin's in discussions with Virginia Tech. That's my opinion.
His theory was maybe
coincidences.
Yeah. His theory was Florida State, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot. That's the thing with the carousel to come, is so many of these jobs, like Virginia Tech is not a top 8 job right now that's open. And so if you want to get a top 8 candidate, like I think James Franklin would be, you're going to have to wait for the LSUs and the Penn States and the Floridas, or the Florida States, the ones that have yet to open, to make their decisions, because the candidate pool that you're selecting from is also the one that the teams that are better than you and have better infrastructure are selecting from.
Do you think
we're not going to see those dominoes start to fall until that Sunday after Thanksgiving there?
Well, do you think Lane Kiffin's is the first domino that has to fall for LSU
Yes.
or Florida, and then everything else trickles in after that?
Without question. And that's where, did you see that during the Ole Miss Florida game, I think there were some T-shirts that just said, like, we're here to watch our future coach.
That's great. But again,
you
go
Lane
back
Kiffin
to
take a picture with the couple that got engaged during the game. That's as good as it gets on the field.
That's it.
I love that guy, man. What a rebirth too. He's giving me hope. I might start hot yoga. I might start hot yoga, because
there's a lot
Lane's
of things that you could say their hot yoga wasn't about the one.
Everywhere he goes, he's taking pictures with his hot yoga class. I mean,
yeah,
he's living his best. He's become his best self in his 50s. So there's hope for all of us. There's hope for me especially.
Well, the timing is fascinating, because Ole Miss can make a run here, and if they do, are probably the two teams everybody talks about, LSU, Florida, are they willing to wait? Now you could probably have a private deal, wink, wink deal, but it's almost like a staring match. Like, do you wait for him if you think, or does he just say, you know what, I got it pretty good here?
I don't think he's leaving. You don't mess with Happy. Write this down, Burnsy. You don't mess with Happy, right? Just don't mess with Happy. And he's got it rolling there. They've obviously invested in him. They've invested in the team. It's not as easy as you'd think to find a new hot yoga studio, So I think it's I've always just thought he's going to stay there. I think he likes playing the game and being out there and talking about Jimmy being mad that he doesn't capitalize on every dollar. Like, just stay there, man. Just like Dan Lanning.
All they have to do is beat Mississippi State and they're in the playoff.
Yeah.
So,
just, you're good. Don't mess with Happy. Your daughter goes to school there. Like, your whole family's down there now again. Like, the families come back together somehow, even though they're not together. Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? Like, anyway, any final thoughts? Great. A thank you to Eugene a final time. It seems like Burnsy, everybody that went there had an awesome time, which is the point. I had friends of mine tell me, like, how nice the Oregon fans were. Why wouldn't they be? They knew it was going to happen, right? I'm guessing they're not that nice to Washington fans when they come at the end of the game. But it was awesome. I hope everybody that made the trip and stayed out there for a couple days or extra days after or whatever had a great time. And it was really cool to meet everybody again and see everybody again, just having a good time on the road, because that, at the end of the day, I'm getting very philosophical at the end of the podcast today with Lane Kiffin. That's what it's all about. The moments and the memories and the times and the trips. And I hope everybody had a great time. Anything you want to add?
I don't know that I can top that, Dad. Now that you tucked me into my bed story, now I can just go to sleep dreaming of just becoming the man that you are. Philosophically, correct.
What?
Philosophically.
I should have had the lyrics to Take Me Home Country Roads.
Playing softly.
Just to walk off people. Country roads take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads. I'm getting emotional. We need to end this podcast.
Have I ever told this story to walk us off? Is at my wedding, a shirtless Burnsy here got everybody in like a circle, and that song played, and I just bellowed out. I love that song, man. I love that thing.
We need a video of that. Is there a video?
Oh, I'm sure it exists, but nobody needs to see my sweaty, sandy trees breathing in the Key Largo air at 10:30 p.m. where I'm just sweating rum.
Key Largo air. Mike, yeah, that was a choice for you, given your propensity.
With the bandage on his forehead where he hit the canoe the night before.
With his broken nose, with gauze up his nostrils. All my memories gather around her. Miner's lady, stranger to blue water, dark and dusty. Painted on the sky, misty taste of moonshine, teardrop in my eye. We'll see you in Wrigleyville, everybody. Burnsy, you're going to have to represent the Parent of Spare pod in Wrigleyville. I'm going to bed.
No, you're coming with me. You can just stand there. You can have a water after you have your Malort, but we're going to get some Malort in you, that botanical IPA, baby.
Botanical IPA.
Believe.
Hang on. I'm just going to grind up some pencil shavings and snort that before this is done. All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Again, thanks, everybody that came up at the Soda Social and at the stadium as well. Goldie was harassing me during the entire Fox 9 pregame show. I got a lot of texts about that. He was trying to distract me just moments before kickoff. So I got a lot of videos from the crowd as well as people that were watching on TV. Me being a pro shouldn't surprise anybody that I was totally locked in. But thanks, everybody. It was a great trip. I hope everybody enjoyed it, and we'll see you in Wrigleyville. Thanks, as always, to Jack's Cafe, and we will talk to you next week on the Parent of Spare podcast.